The opposite of sound is silence. Silence is the absence of sound. Silence is a theoretical notion. It's the idea that there's a complete lack, void, or absence of all sound, as I mentioned. However, is it something that we can actually experience in reality? That becomes the question. In music, silence is different. In music, silence is the absence of any musicians playing or any music actually occurring. This is what happens during rests. This is true in classical music as well as in pop music. You can think of music where a sudden silence of all music is used as a dramatic effect. It essentially heightens the tension of what comes before it. In film, silence may be used to indicate an effect such as impending doom in a thriller or serenity in a love scene in a very similar way to music. Silence is something that's unnerving when we watch uh, multimedia such as films or listen to music in which we expect there to always be the presence of sound. However, these are artificial and manufactured moments of silence. We, the listener viewers, do not truly experience silence as defined above. Instead, there is always sound present. As proof, I want you to do the to do that's on this page. Wherever you are, I want you to sit in perfect silence for 30 seconds. I will even do that right here on this video with you. I'm going to mute my microphone, and that way there will be no silence coming in to the video, and I will actually watch the timer to make sure that we go 30 seconds. When we begin, and before we do it, so pause if you need to, but I want you to actually turn off your TV, your radio, record player, whatever else, any loud electronics you have on. Obviously, if you have a fridge in the room, you can't unplug that. Or if your heater's going automatically, you can't do anything about that. But try to turn off anything else that's possible. And I want you to sit perfectly still and do not move. And you are welcome to sit with your eyes open or closed. But at the end of this 30 seconds, I want you to ask yourself, what did you hear? Was there actual silence? All right. So you ready? Here we go. I want you to get comfortable. And we're going to sit for 30 seconds of silence. And all right, it's been about 30 seconds. Now, what did you hear? Was it silent? Was there a lack and an absence of all sound? No, of course there wasn't. I'm in my office filming this right now, and I have everything off that I possibly could. I have nothing in here because otherwise it'd be a horrible environment to record in, but still there is sound. My computer has a very small fan spinning. And up above, you can't see it, there's an HVAC system, which I can't control. And it ticks and it hums, and there's this low hum that comes through it constantly. And as the temperature differentials go up and down, you hear the metal creaking. On a nice day, even with my window closed, as I mentioned in the page here, I can actually hear children down below my office playing in the ASM playground outside. Try as we might, silence in our world is usually a theoretical notion. Now, you'll notice on this page, there's a discussion of anechoic chambers, and there's a good image of an anechoic chamber. Maybe I can bring that up here. Let me move some things around, unfortunately. Here we go. So, there we go. There's an anechoic chamber. An anechoic chamber is a place where all sound is kept out of. So any sound from outside of the chamber isn't allowed to come in. And likewise, any sound created inside the chamber is absorbed. There's no reflections, there's no refractions. So if someone claps their hands in my office, I'll hear it bounce off a wall. In there, you won't hear that sound bounce at all. So this is the closest on Earth that we can get to a silent environment. That being said, John Cage, who's a really important 20th century musician and composer who became fascinated with the idea of silence, wanted to experience silence for himself. And so he went to an anechoic chamber and sat inside. And there's a nice discussion here where he realized there is no such thing as an empty space or an empty time. There is always something to see, something to hear. In fact, try as we may to make a silence, we cannot. For certain engineering purposes, it is desirable to have a silent as situation as possible. Such a room is called an anechoic chamber. It's 6 walls made of special material, a room without echoes. I entered one at Harvard University several years ago and heard 2 sounds, one high and one low. When I described them to the engineer in charge, he informed me that the high one was my nervous system in operation and the low one my blood in circulation. Until I die, there will be sounds. Even in a space where no sounds could come into, and even sitting still such that you would not create any external sounds, you still would experience the sounds of your own body. And this is magical for a number of reasons. First off, it's amazing how delicate and sensitive our hearing system is. Second, it means sound is a part of our life. It never, ever, ever goes away. We can never truly block out sound. So again, silence is theoretical. It's not something that actually exists. I want you to watch. There's 2 short videos here on John Cage. One of them doesn't allow for playing in the website, so you'll have to follow the link out to YouTube and watch it. And please fast forward to 25:58, and you only have to watch until 27:11. However, if you want to watch the whole video, of course, I would encourage you to do so. It's a documentary on John Cage, but he talks about silence and listening between the 2 of these. I want you to spend some time today and the rest of this week thinking about silence and your relationship to silence. What does silence mean to you? Do you enjoy silence? Is it something that unnerves you? How do you feel to know that you can't ever truly experience true theoretical silence?